Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us for another Changer Chat. I'm Grant Venable, Director of Change for Be the Change Volunteers. Today, we're joined by the Lewis family, Dan, Diane, Sarah, and Ryan Lewis. The Lewis family has been completely instrumental in making the dreams of the Gyaza Community School a reality. Their support and use of their platform to promote this project has truly created a flywheel of success for the school. Welcome to all of you, and thank you for sharing your story with us.
Hey, Grant.
Hey, Grant, how are you?
Great. Sarah, Ryan, thanks for being here also.
You're welcome. Thanks for having us.
So I want to jump into our discussion on the BTCV project in Uganda and Gyaza Village. And of course, we got to start with you, Ryan, because Ryan, you're the reason we are all connected to the Gyaza Community School in Uganda today. Can you tell us, in brief, how that happened and what's your story and how did it lead BTCV to be in Gyaza Village?
Yeah, so when I was an undergraduate at Florida State University, I applied for a program that makes a class in the spring and then in the summer sends out about 30 students to various organizations around the world. There's a website that advertises positions for tiny grassroots organizations looking for volunteers. I happened to find Arcos at Gyaza Village in Uganda, which is Cornelius's organization. So I ended up spending almost 3 months there that summer. I was teaching biology at the secondary school and then doing personal health hygiene talks at primary schools around the district. And then while I was there, my parents were like, why don't you see if Be the Change would want to come work with the school there? So I started the process, filling out all the forms for the application, and we ended up getting lucky enough to, partner with Be the Change.
That's right. So Ryan, inside of that, tell me about arriving in Uganda, getting off the plane, going through customs, and meeting Cornelius.
Yeah, I had talked to Cornelius twice, I think, on the phone before I got there. And so leaving the airport, I was kind of like, is this person actually going to show up? Is this like real?
Right.
And he was waiting out there right outside the airport, just with a smile, and as he always has, and just so excited to meet me, and got in the car with him, and we had 5 hours to sit and start getting to know each other in the drive to the village, minus the couple of naps that he took in the car.
All right, Dan and Diane, off of that, this is a question for parents. When Ryan left for Uganda all those years ago, we want to know what was going through your minds. And what advice would you give parents considering letting their kids go on a trip like this?
Well, I'll be honest, we were very nervous, very scared in some respects. I really didn't know that much about Uganda, and my only reference was the movie The Last King of Scotland. Which, so we were concerned would he be safe there? But the more we talked to people and researched it, found out that the situation there was politically very stable and good at that point. And so, but we had concerns. You send your kid halfway across the world to Africa, and you're just wondering, you imagine everything that possibly could go wrong. But we were also really excited for the opportunity, and Ryan was so excited. It's a big point in somebody's life as far as exerting their independence and doing something truly noble like that. So we're proud too.
I'll have to say, Grant, early on when Ryan was looking at a couple different countries, I thought to myself, how are we going to look, how can we research this and figure out, we knew Ryan was very capable of taking care of himself, but And then I thought about Jimmy, and I said, let's ask him what he thinks about which is a safer country. And he definitely said Uganda was safe, no problem. So I trusted his opinion, knowing that you guys have looked at safety and kept safety number one.
That's great. So you guys basically, did your own research, but then you counted on some reference points as well. That's good advice for other parents when they're considering that stuff. Sarah, Ryan is your brother. So by default, when you traveled to Uganda, you became an instant celebrity arriving as a village because after his time there, he was a famous guy. We'll get to that part. But first, I want you to go back to Entebbe, specifically the Entebbe airport. Tell me about that first Ugandan experience, getting off those long flights, going through customs, and then traveling in Uganda. What was that like for you, and what were you feeling?
I was very excited for the trip, and I had followed everything. Ryan had kept a blog when he was there that summer, and so he had shared his experiences, and we'd seen photos, and he talked to us about everything. And so I had some degree of expectations, but also, it's not always the same as what you actually experience yourself. And so I was very excited. But it was also very different than any place I had ever been. So a lot of expectation, but also a little bit of what is this going to be like? Am I going to like it? Am I going to love it as much as Ryan did? And it definitely was more than I expected in the best way, and definitely can see why Ryan fell in love with the community.
Thank you. So you can't talk about Gaza Village or the Gaza Community School without talking about Bishop Cornelius and his wife, Madame. And we could definitely fill this entire time with their story alone. But what I'd like each of you to do is just share a short story or a first impression or your lasting impression that you have for this man and woman who really are behind all of the amazing work in such a difficult location. And we'll start with the ladies. Diane, you can lead the way, and then Sarah.
The first impression I had of Bishop and Madame is just welcoming, jovial, intelligent, very spiritual and religious, likes to have fun, likes to chat and talk, definitely be the life of a party. Just very warm couple and knowledgeable, caring.
Oh, Sarah, what about you? Short story, first impression, lasting impression you have?
I definitely can agree with everything that my mom said. I think that one of the most striking things about Cornelius is his smile and his overall cheerful, warm, welcoming nature. And I mean, from the moment that we met him, he just treated us like family, and he always has something to say. And he is just so kind and welcoming all the time. And then Madame can be a little more quiet, but she is certainly a force that holds that family together, and such an excellent cook, so loving, so kind and welcoming too. And they're just a wonderful family and a wonderful cornerstone for that community.
Hey, Dan, how about you?
Well, Cornelius is a man of few words. I'm joking, because we all know Cornelius can tell story after story after story after story, and
they're all good.
I mean, my favorite thing is when we get to the school, it's usually we go over Sunday morning for mass, and the kids are playing the drums and they're dancing and they're singing, and like the first time he literally was going to launch into 3 hours of preaching. And we've got it down where he knows now, at least, that he has 1 hour. But he's phenomenal. his energy for that community and what he does and his positivity is impressive.
Yeah, it is. Hey, Ryan, tell us about your Ugandan father.
Yeah,
And
I
mother.
think just sitting in the car with him that first day when I got there and just acting like he had known me for so long and just, being friendly and chatting, and there was no awkwardness or anything, because he is really, welcoming and loving. And then the story I wanted to say about Madame is one of my first nights there. Cornelius had to leave the village for a few days. He had somewhere to go. And I was just there like deer in headlights, what have I gotten myself into? What am I doing here? And one of those first nights, Madame just sat with me and we just talked for a while, and I was asking her to start teaching me some Luganda, and she was, she made dinner, and we ate together, and just that little gesture from her meant so much to me and just kind of encapsulated her as a woman, just so caring and loving.
Yeah, she is like a mother to everybody. And I don't mean that lightly. I mean, she can sense what people need and really come alongside them in that way. That's a great way to share about her. So you traveled to Uganda with the Be the Change volunteers team, and I'd like each of you to think about that first team visit to the village. Cornelius is giving you a tour of the primary school rooms in the Gayaza market, which is a small rural market with a few shops and vendors on a dirt road. And starting with Ryan, what was it like to bring your family here to this place that you had served?
It was weird. I don't know. It was I had basically, it had become a second home to me, and to return 2 years later and get to show my family this place that had become a second home. It was great. I didn't really believe it was real at the time, and it was just really nice to be able to share that place that was so special to me with them.
Hey, Sarah, can you tell us about your experience on that tour?
I think it was very eye-opening to actually come into Gayaza for the first time, and driving in, it was much more rural than I was expecting, and compared to like where we were staying in Chotera, and just being able to walk around the facilities, especially at that primary school, it just was very eye-opening, and really really solidified for me the importance of us being there, of Be the Change, coming in and helping, because those classrooms that they had were so tiny and small and dark, and it just was amazing to me that the students could learn and they were so happy and thriving. But in those circumstances, there's their own challenges. So it just really highlighted the need for us to be there, and really gave me hope for what we could provide to them, and just give them a hand to really enhance their learning and their lives.
Totally, yeah. Dan, Diane, can you describe it for me? But tell me about specifically the sights that you saw, what you saw, the sounds in the market, and some of the smells, if you can do that for me. Just to really give listeners the best understanding we can. Just paint a picture.
Coming into the one intersection of the village, there's so much going on. There's chickens going, people talking and working, selling dried fish, music blaring. There's a little shop cooking some food. The school is right next to all of this going on. The little rooms again, were tiny, as Sarah mentioned, with dirt floors, very dark, maybe 30 kids in one little room. If that, I was impressed at how much the teachers could get done in that area. But a lot of commotion going on, just things coming, other cars or bicycles, bodas going back and forth, and noise. Impressive that anything could be done as far as teaching goes, but lots of things going on.
What about for you, Dan?
Yeah, and the thing is, it's like this tiny little community that has so little. And I think the thing that I remember most about that day are the kids, and they were so excited, and they're just laughing and giggling, and they all want to come up and hold your hand or just grab a finger, and they're so happy. They have so little, and yet they're so happy. And I think it's, they're just kids having a great time. And I think that they appreciate the little things that they have. And, I think it's just really refreshing to see the kids, and they were just so excited when we came into their school and sang us their song and just followed us around. And I just still remember how the kids were just giggling and laughing the whole time.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. All right, so we've covered the primary school, but the Guys Community School really has two parts at this time, which are a primary school, and that's in the market that y'all just described in those rented stalls. But then there's the secondary school with a vocational program, and that is just outside of the market on several acres. And the land was one of the things that was appealing to BTCV for a project, because that's a prerequisite to a project. So the site evaluators who came out long before the team, thanks to Ryan's application, determined that developing the existing infrastructure on the secondary campus would actually solve some of the most immediate financial issues for the school, because they were renting those stalls, and so they had recurring monthly expenses. So you guys are on the BTCV team, and that team bid off doing the finishing work on some vocational classrooms, and then the community finished out some temporary classrooms for the primary school to move them out of that marketplace. But let's just talk about being on the team, doing some work, traveling back and forth from the guest house in Chotera to Gayaza. As first-time changers, tell us what volunteering at the school was like, and we'll go with Ryan first.
Well, so it was 2 years since I'd been there. It was really awesome for me to be able to see a lot of the students that I taught 2 years before were still at school, and really cool. It just was like in a time in their lives when they really grew up. So it was really, really awesome to see them again. And it was really hard work, a lot harder than I expected. We had to do a lot of manual mixing of concrete, which is not super easy, but it was a lot of fun. Students would help us out. Doing the work for such a good cause makes it easier. We got a lot done, which is also a really good motivator. Yeah, it was a really great trip that time.
And Sarah, you can share about either trip, but what are some of your memories from the work or the local travel that you did with the BTCV team?
I think the first year, like Ryan said, definitely was a lot more physically challenging for me. Mixing the cement was certainly something that I was not used to, so that was a nice challenge. Got to work out in every day. And I think one of the most striking things that has always stuck with me with both trips is the willingness and the enthusiasm of the students to help, and also for the community members to come and help. And I think, when whether we're doing the assembly line, passing the cement from the prep area to the building, you know, and everyone's pitching in, seeing how willing everyone is to help, and also seeing some of the women there in their beautiful dresses. And that was very motivating. Whenever, you know, I felt like I was getting tired or my arms are getting sore or whatever. It was just, you know, look how happy and willing they are to help. And it just gave me strength to keep on working.
Yeah, definitely seeing the local community come out just really drive you forward. I'm glad you brought that up. Hey, Dan and Diane, you guys, of course, you can tell us about your first trip, but you've been on multiple trips. And so how have you seen the work evolve?
Oh, it's such a good feeling to go back each year and see the progress that the community, the workers have done each year. It's just amazing, especially that first year we went back. So the second year we were there, after having put in the masonry room, and the masonry room was in full use the entire year because they made enough bricks for the first classroom, I think. The progress is incredible. It's heartwarming. And I did want to add to Sarah's as well, the group of changers that you go with also really lifts you up and motivates you, you know, developing those friendships and the friendships with the community members. So passing that concrete does get a little easier when you have someone to laugh with.
I agree with that. Hey, Dan, how have you seen the work evolve, or just some of the different projects that have been done around campus, not necessarily construction, evolve?
Well, obviously, now that we've got multiple classrooms up, we've moved the kids out of the shops into their own building on the main campus. Be the change, you know, you can see the bathrooms going in and the courtyard being finished off, and just simple things like putting in the windows in the roof with skylights in them so that those classrooms are light now and stuff. So you see it growing each time you go, and you see the progress made. I think the best thing is, because, you know, in Uganda, people just basically, you know, throw their trash down on the ground. They don't like have garbage collection or anything. And
Right.
and the first year we were there, and I can't think of the gal's name, Brenda she's the school teacher, and she had like all the kids lining up and picking up the trash and, you know, putting it in the burn pile and stuff. And, you know, we kind of were laughing at her like, you know, this isn't gonna go very far almost. And now when we go back, it's pretty clean around campus. There's not a lot of trash everywhere. It's changed the culture there. And that, to me, that was just amazing. Like the third trip, it was like, you know, this place is pretty clean.
Yeah, it really has evolved into a functioning school campus that I know has always been Bishop and Madame's dream. So that's a great thing to bring up, just beyond the brick and mortar improvements, some of the things that have changed within the organizational culture. You know, that's really been fun to watch for us too. Hey, over the last few years, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Just so, you know, they were talking about seeing the progress. When I went back in January for the site visit, that was the first time I'd been there since 2017. And I remember at one point after I'd done a tour of the site, I was looking around and I was like, there are so many new things since the first time I was here. It just kind of struck me how many, you know, buildings have gone up and all the improvements, and it was really cool to see that. And, you know, it just didn't even seem like the same place that I was there the first time. It was awesome to see that development.
Yeah, I agree with that totally. Just seeing it all the way from the site evaluation to where it is now is just incredible. So what I'd like everybody to do is tell me what's been your favorite part of attending this project or watching it evolve, if you haven't been able to attend every year. But what have you also found to be the most difficult? Just in a couple of words. And I'll start with Sarah on this one. What's your favorite part, and What's been the most difficult?
I think my favorite part is probably the relationships that we build through the experience, both with the changers on the trip. And, you know, we have plenty of time to get to know each other in the long rides from Totera to Gayaza in the truck bed. So it's great to have that camaraderie. And then also in the relationships with the, you know, with Cornelius and Madame, their whole family, Victoria, all of the students and teachers and staff. Building those relationships and just getting to know each other, I think, is probably one of the most rewarding parts of the trip. And as far as the most difficult, I don't know. Maybe a really bumpy
Shoveling cement.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. Shoveling the cement, or like a very, very bumpy truck ride on the way after a long day. But to be honest, as long as you just have a little cushion, it's not bad at all.
Well, I'm glad to hear that it's hard for you to think of the difficult over the good. That's great.
Yeah.
Hey, Ryan, how about you?
Yeah, definitely the relationships that we have there. I mean, that's, you know, my Ugandan family, and it's just so great to get to spend time with them each time I go back. And honestly, the work is so satisfying that we do, that it's also even fun to be doing the hard manual labor. I think the hardest parts, yeah, it's also kind of hard to come up with that as well.
Maybe it's the separation for you from your family and having to get on that airplane.
Honestly, probably it is. I'm always a little bit sad when I'm leaving. You know, it's always nice to come home, but I guess it's hard because I'm leaving another home, you know?
Right. Exactly. Hey, Dan, Diane, what about you guys? What's your favorite part, and what is the most difficult part?
My favorite part is seeing everybody, the smiling faces, you know, even the clerk at the motel that we stay at, you know, she remembers us each year and she's excited to see us, and she's like family now too. So just seeing everyone, building friendships with the new changers, and seeing the students. And I can't think of the hardest part. Maybe the very end of the day.
Yeah, I think it's, I think my favorite part is when we play like volleyball and, you know, with the kids, and we have the games at the end of the day and stuff, and you just get to like really have fun and play with the kids. And that part of the day is really good. The hardest part, I would say, after making that trip, what, 3-4 times now? 4 times, you know, getting there, it's a long way. It's not like you're just commuting to work. It's a
serious flight.
It's a serious flight, and then the bus ride and everything. So, you know, it was exciting the first time, and the second time it was kind of routine, and yeah. but certainly, just, you know, the kids are awesome, and I just, you know, really enjoy, particularly the little kids. They're really awesome. You know, they're just like so much fun, and they're so happy, and you can have like 3 of them crawling all over you and 5 of them hanging on you, and, you know, and they're just a lot of fun.
Well, I have to tell you guys, I thought Ryan was going to tell us his favorite part was eating a Rolex off the street, but we'll save that for another episode. You can share the secrets of the Rolex. I want to key this one in on Dan and Diane, because you two have traveled to Uganda every single year since the partnership began, and that is a huge commitment. And through it, you have really become recognized locally as the parents of the Gayaza Community School. And I would add that you're also the champions of this project for Be the Change volunteers, because you bring so much awareness to it by using all of your platforms, really both your social platforms and your professional platforms for this school. Just for others, can you share a bit about how you use your platforms to promote the project, to promote Be the Change volunteers? Because that's really something that fills a gap for us and drives the projects.
I have to correct you on one thing, Grant. The word in Uganda is, I believe it's Jinja, and Ryan might correct me, which was grandparent. Yeah, I mean, it's become a big part of our life, mainly because of, how we had supported Be the Change for a long time, being friends with Jimmy and Christy, but we never actually went on a real build or anything. And when this project became a Be the Change project, we said, well, I guess it's time for us to put up and walk the walk. But it's special because of the family relationship and with the village. And so, we're very committed to this. It's there's a lot that needs to be done still. A lot has been done, certainly. There's a lot that needs to be done, and we're in it for the long haul. So but it's provided a great deal of reward for us too as a family, and seeing our kids there, that's been really fantastic. See them function in that capacity, in that environment. Very proud to see that. There's days I just sit back and when the kids have been there, Sarah or Ryan, and just watch them interact with people. And as a parent, it's awesome.
I like to try to find any way I can, even if it's a little way with my annual Christmas eggnog fundraiser, to find ways for other people to get involved, my friends who are also embracing Be the Change and my little part in it, to supply desks for kids. What are some little ways that people can donate? What can we do? And it's a small way, but trying to share things on Facebook. Any opportunity I have, really, somebody brings up something to do with a charity or something like that, education, or they'll ask, about Be the Change, and I just love talking to it. A lot of my clients at work, when we used to still have open clinics, would ask, because I have the certificate from Cornelius on the Wall, and they'd ask me about that. And from the first year to the third and fourth year, clients that I would see annually would say, do you have any pictures from last year, or this summer, or how was your trip? So that's really fun for me.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I love those moments. I like to make people say, oh, where is that from? Or how did you get that? And I always encourage changers to, hey, if you get something, put it on your desk, put it where people are going to see it, and ask, where is that from? How did you get that? And then share the story. Well, I'm so grateful for each of you sharing your story with us about Uganda. And I know we could talk all night about Uganda, and hopefully we'll have another opportunity to share more stories, because I know each of you has big dreams for this campus. At Be the Change Volunteers, we say that we create education opportunities because education creates jobs, and a job is the only way out of poverty. And I know you guys know that and believe that, and you've seen that. And so I just want to tell you how grateful as an organization we are to each of you, and we just couldn't do this project without you. So thank you for joining us for this Changer Chat.
Thanks. Good talking to you. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Hey, if you're listening, we would love for you to check out our website. Go to info@btcv.us, click on projects, and you can read the entire Uganda story, start to finish. Thank you all, and Be the Change. That's a wrap.
All right, thanks.